Hey, Mark, we actually have that on the network. We have a show on timeshares. I'm sure that Sasha can't wait to run down to invest in a timeshare. But what's interesting about the show, if you ever watch it, is how many people get scammed on the timeshare because the sales guy is saying, "Hey, you can buy this timeshare points, and what do the points do? They don't know." And then what happens is we'll finance it for 14% or 20%. Well, that's a little high. Don't worry, you can get it refinanced later. And then they go to the bank after they bought it already. Can we refinance it? And the banks go, we don't finance timeshares. Are you crazy? There's no value there.
There's no value. Speaking of no value, and I'm gonna come back to speaking of no value, I'm gonna come back to Trump and one of his favorite things and everything, because we know Trump likes underage people and all along those lines. But apparently, there's one of those underage pageants, or maybe they're not really underage, but there's one of those pageants that is now in trouble because some people are claiming, are you ready for this? That it's rigged. So 2 Miss Universe judges have quit the scandal hit pageant because one of those judges is claiming that it's a rigged contest, even though a lot of people have been thinking that for years and everything. So what is your thoughts about this notion that maybe Miss Universe isn't really Miss Universe? It's a whole resigned and rigged thing, because this is apparently a big scandal in the world of.
Look at how it's judged.
That's how they operate. I don't know what planet you're on. My cousin was Miss Tampa, but they were also big donors to the Miss Tampa pageant. But let's see what Sasha has to say about timeshare investments. I'm really curious to see if he's ever owned a timeshare. Sasha.
No, I'll tell you something that I think it's a brilliant show, and I'm surprised that not so many people are watching it, although I think probably 20-30 million people should watch it, because what they're deriving from the show is self-respect that they never invested in this timeshare scheme, and that there are so many people are losing money on that, and they are proud of themselves that, oh, look at these fools, look at how much money all they lost, and we didn't, because we're smarter, we're more careful than these idiots. So this is probably should be easily #1 show on your network.
So it does have very high ratings.
My wife and I ended up owning a timeshare for the same reason a lot of people our age do, because our parents bought one in the 70s when it wasn't such a bad deal, and then they passed away.
You know what they were doing back then? They were actually selling weeks. So you basically had a partial interest in a house for a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever. Now they're not selling weeks because you can't get extra money for weeks.
It was back 50 years ago. It was
selling points.
It was
selling points.
Wait, what happened?
This is worse. This is all cryptocurrency.
It's worse than cryptocurrency.
Let me finish my point. So you can end up owning a timeshare through no fault of your own, and you can be victimized that way because you may not know better. You think, well, this is a thing, I should be able to sell it. And there will be people who say, yeah, just work with us and give us $600 and we'll help you sell it. No, they're worthless. The best you can do is to get out of it, is to talk to the timeshare company and beg them and say, we didn't buy it, we inherited it, quit charging us every year for this thing, let us go.
Well, speaking of that, and really quickly, because we have the show and it airs even in reruns and it does pretty well and everything like that. They are saving people tons of money and all along those lines. But I want to come back because apparently the BBC is one of the people that broke this story, as did the New York Times and everything. And we know that Trump doesn't like the BBC. So is this going to be another reason for Trump not to go after media? The fact that they're going after one of his favorite things, which is Miss Universe and everything like that. So is he going to go after the BBC even more, since they are now saying that it's
he doesn't know Miss Universe anymore. He must have sold it at some point. He only cares about stuff that affects him. So like somebody asked him on Air Force One some questions he didn't like, and he said, quiet, piggy, to this female reporter. So but he could give a crap about Miss Universe.
Yeah, that was a real because he apparently had done that before, where he had called somebody Miss Piggy that had put on some weight, and definitely as you age, you do that.
Just to point out, he's been doing that for a long time. We just normalized it. And now because of the Epstein file and their cracks becoming or going through his armor, Now we're finally saying, okay, that was wrong. He's been doing that for a very long time. The man mocked a reporter with special needs. Nobody cared. But now we're finally starting to care because people are getting through this whole Teflon Don piece. Right. So that's where things are. And so, yeah, just to say, well, he had mocked and this is shocking. He's been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a while. Hey, there's another issue that is out there, and I'm curious to see whether people are thinking this is a good thing or not, because it was a big issue decades ago and everything, but it's going to be maybe brought back into the forefront because there is an entertainment duo, the Kessler twins, that decided to let themselves pass away by assisted suicide. So they were at age 89, and they are Germans that used to perform with Sinatra and other big name actors, but I guess because of their age and some of the things that they were going through in health-wise, they decided that they would die by assisted suicide. So are we thinking that more people, as we get into an aging society, are going to want to die by assisted suicide, which was very popular by, I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name that was known for it. Y'all know him.
Dr. Kevorkian and Dr. Death.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, some states like Oregon allow you to do it under medical evaluation and supervision.
Yeah, it's become illegal in certain states, but something that they don't have to worry about in Bangladesh because all their young people, where in the United States is old people, and so are Japan. So let's ask Dr. Sharif, since he represents half of our potential audience over in Bangladesh, and I am looking at Chittagong and going over to that city, Dr. Sharif, because the air quality is not so bad there. But talk to me. Do you guys have assisted suicide over in Bangladesh?
Yeah, it's happened. But I want to move with some positive news. Today, I collaborate with UNESCO. I shared the news. So UNESCO is very happy with our World Talent Economy Forum. Definitely, Pot TV is our partner. I promote your different shows with the UNESCO. And beside that, many university, today also another university invite me to collaborate with them, especially what I'm doing, this grassroots level communities, entrepreneurial initiative we are developing. And UNESCO said this kind of initiative is very, very important for Bangladesh, important for India or the global South communities. So those who want to contribute, let's say, I want to invite you all for this positive initiative, very, very positive initiative. It's a life-changing. It's a real investment. Those who want to do investment, I request Nick, Sasha, everyone, invest through talent economy. I know you have all of the great experience from Silicon Valley, from Fortune Global 500, all of the big company shares. But trust me, if you invest in talent economy, invest in emerging economy, it will be life-changing, and it can bring a lot more success.
What time horizon on this investment, Dr. Sharif?
I do focus on more on startup, more on startup, because these small companies actually have some positive growth. So my focus in something like that, let's say this grant like UNESCO and all of the BBC and all of the foundations, they can focus in this particular area. Secondly, the investor like an angel investor or venture capital, they can invest in this economy. And definitely the commercialization, it's very, very, very good place for commercializations. I can ensure that all of the companies, that housing company or healthcare company or education company, they get a very good return because it's South Asia. What Mr. Nick said, that half of the countries people live in these communities. So the growing as a company is very easy. So your money will be safe. Your investment opportunity will be futuristic and safe. And definitely history gonna remember you. That is the way of doing things with talent economy.
Interesting. Yeah.
What about
it's pretty interesting over there.
What about, so, and what you're talking about, because this is something, this is why I keep saying that, you know, I hope you have some time, because I sent you the link to what I'm putting together here. And I would love to, in a roundabout way, have, in your idea, with what you're talking about with the world talent economy and so on and so forth, and talking about investment there, but how do you create that synergy between, say, for example, if we run the same format of what we're creating here there, where it's still focused, because you're talking about investment in a lot of the different businesses and some of the tech stuff. But what I'm pushing is dealing in the gaming industry, gaming and creative and focused on the human side, and doing a similar style of searching for investment for individuals that are trying to get in there.
Yeah.
How can we have the same thing where you're doing the World Talent Economy there, but also the World Talent Economy here? How do you do the Future Fest Connect here and then the Future Fest Connect there, where it's basically two sister conventions playing off of each other and helping each other, not only with the individuals that come with investment, but having both of those entities grow?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that because, look, I see many smart entrepreneurs like Jatovi, like Nick, like Sasha, like Rick in developed nations. So you need customer, right? If you want to grow as a company, even though Pot TV, if they want to grow as a company, they need customer. Emerging economy, specifically South Asia, is very good place to engage with this community. If you want to engage with China, it will be very challenging. If you want to engage with Middle East, yes, it has money, but they don't have too much of audience. So if you have good customers base, right, for your company, for your gaming industry, I'm sure, let's say here around 60% population youth, 750 million people actually youth. So they will be very interested about gaming industry, this innovative industry. So if you have a customer, so very simple, like you are getting a lot more investment in your company. That is the way I'm always requesting global South and global North. You living in global North and global South. No barriers, no immigration barriers, no war, no fight. Be good friends. Make a good economy. That is very common thing, very small things we have to change. And I believe this way you can get a very good return for your corporations. Simple things, very, very simple things. Be good friends. What Pot TV is doing.
Well, speaking of being good friends and everything like that, I mentioned that next week we're going to have a guest on GetSoFly.com, Heather Cherty, who has got a flying car, and she'll be appearing on next Tuesday here on World Edition and everything like that. So definitely keep that in your mind. But I'm also seeing that in Dubai, the Dubai Air Show, they are having the flying taxi startup debut. So are any of you going to be trying to get either in a flying taxi or buying a flying car? Because like I said, this is something that ironically you did it in Northampton County, which is a small area, because you need a small area in order to have the land space to do the demonstration of a flying car. But like I said, we'll be having her on the 25th and everything like that of this month. But are any of you gentlemen going to be trying to get in a flying taxi?
Mark, just one thing. Sorry, Nick. Just one thing. Like Dhaka has huge population, lot of traffic jam. If really you invent or any company invent flying cars or something like that, this is a very good market. Trust me.
Well, like I said, she'll be on the show on the 25th. Join me when she comes here on the 25th. Heather Cherty, she can tell you what she's invented.
Nick can be venture capital for us, like business incubation. Or we can bring this 750 million youth markets and these great innovators. Nick has and Sasha has a lot of experience for investment. Hey man, everyone billionaires.
See the problem with a lot of people that are not just the investments, it's the taxes that take place, which are a big issue for anybody who's high income. So I was going to go to Jatovi because I know he's doing a project.
If you invest in emerging economy, let's say if you invest in Bangladesh, 10 years, you do not have to pay any tax.
Oh, really?
10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
10 years. You are an investor. 10 years, you do not have to pay any tax.
Yeah.
So save your money. Become like a great entrepreneur.
Yeah. So, because one of the big problems of high net worth, high income people, it's taxes. It's their number one budget item. In other words, it's their everywhere.
Speaking
We're always looking for places.
You can save. You
Hey,
can-
Nick and Cherie, speaking of high income, there is a company that a lot of people like to go to. It has a nickname that some people have for it because of its low prices. And I'd love to hear Sasha's thought around this, but I just heard that they may have hit rock bottom because a lot of people, when they're looking for cheap activities or cheap clothes and things like that, they will go to what is nicknamed Target. It's called Target, and they're saying that Target may have hit rock bottom, and that's what CNN just reported, and that was a major discount store. So they're lowering their top end of their profit outlook and everything like that. So they're going to spend $5 billion on store revamps, but that was a popular store for those that like discount items and everything like that. So is Target in trouble?
I don't know. I have a problem with retail. It's not a sector that I really get involved in terms of buying their stock because it's so subject to getting crushed. It's like the airlines. I don't buy airline stocks because they can fall out of the sky and there goes your stock. And I don't buy.
Retail has been getting crushed for 30 years. And
and I don't buy restaurants, even though I like to eat some of these places. I think it's called Cheesecake Factory in the United States, is a great stock, but I still can't ever pull the trigger on those. So I'm just not into those sectors.
What about construction?
I can tell you about cake. I can tell you about cheesecake. I can tell you because my wife and I will go a few times a year, and it used to be you had a 40-minute wait to get in, no more. I wouldn't invest in. I mean, still a great restaurant, but not as popular as it was 10 years ago.
But Rick and Nick, what about? I said that they had gone down. They actually went up, but it says it looks like Lowe's rallied on their Q3, and it looks like analysts are hammering Home Depot, but it looks like Lowe's stock jumped. So would you do stuff that's in the construction space?
There are all sorts of signs that most Americans are in some degree of economic distress,
right?
And it's bubbling up. We haven't seen the numbers to support it yet, in part because the government's been shut down for a month and a half, and we didn't get last month's numbers. But as we get into the beginning of 2026, we're going to see rising unemployment, rising inflation.
The one thing that I wanted to point out is I had heard today, and honestly, Sasha, I'd love to hear if this was what you heard as well, but I had heard today that the investors are really kind of nervous because of the AI bubble.
Yes, you're right. And today is probably the biggest day on the stock market in all year. Today at 4 o'clock, NVIDIA numbers will be released. And this is the only thing what can help to survive AI universe. Without NVIDIA positive earnings and positive comments by Jensen, without that, they all will go down the toilet, and people will lose trillions of dollars is on the line, and one stock, NVIDIA, dictates what's going to happen to millions and millions of investors in artificial intelligence and all quantum computing and all other wonderful stocks. Now, speaking about the casual food restaurants, I've read comments about Chipotle, which stock about a year, 2 years ago, it was flying. You couldn't even touch it. Then it split, and now it's back to reality. So they admitted that many Americans who used to, for casual dining, consider Chipotle, they cannot afford the casual dining anymore. They cannot afford even McDonald's anymore. So Chipotle is on the block. It will go bankrupt as many other casual restaurants seems. And McDonald's will fight to keep its audience, and there is nothing below McDonald's anyway. So if people want to continue to live and eat, they will have to go to McDonald's.
Before COVID, my wife and I go out to dinner, I don't know, once a week, maybe twice a week sometimes. Our price point used to be $30. Get out of there for $30 for two with tip, unless it's a special occasion. After COVID, our price point is now $50.
Yeah, and by the way, I did check the target price on the stock. Last 5 years, it's down 50%. And
Wow.
and that's the reason I just can't do the retail sector, because you can get clobbered. 1 year, they're the darlings, they're up like, now they're down 50%. I mean, is it a
there's
buy?
another store.
I mean,
There's another store like that. TJ Maxx apparently is outperforming, and they're saying that that's signaling in more frugal shoppers. Because TJ Maxx is another one that people like to go for discounts as well.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
TJ Maxx and Target are two different price points.
Yeah,
TJ Maxx is super cheap. So yeah, people will spend money in the cheap stores.
Yeah,
but as Rick pointed out, and I think Nick, you can actually look it up as you're tracking, all the big box stores, Best Buy to all of them are struggling because, I mean, the online community is where a lot of people shop.
Yeah, the online community.
Retail is a terrible business model now.
Retail's terrible.
Retail, I mean, used to be the only way that people could buy, but now you're guessing what people are going to want. You have to put it in your stores for people to see. That's a
crazy model and everything. Before we get off, we got about another 5 minutes. I know I got Sasha's investment show. Speaking of investment, coming up at 1 o'clock. But I did have a question for you, Nick, because apparently Meta, that's another one of those big.
Yeah, they're the ones that keep throwing us off
the air. A landmark antitrust case over Instagram and WhatsApp accusations. So they're saying that they did not violate the law when they brought Instagram and WhatsApp. Is what a judge said yesterday, and they're saying that's a big antitrust win. So what is your take on that as a person in the legal profession?
Did Meta win that one then?
They did win that one. They won that one.
Okay. Meta's, the thing is, I'm not broadcasting on Meta. I'm not broadcasting on Facebook. Why? Because they stuck me in Facebook jail. They also stuck another one of our shows, Weed Wednesday, into Facebook jail. And they also took one of our other producers. They have 3 of us in jail right now. So we asked Meta, why are we in Facebook jail? No response. I mean, that is one of the Facebook is one of the suckiest companies and Meta out there. The best thing to do is to go somewhere else. They're just horrible. And so we've been, I'm on TikTok a lot because we can broadcast there. And LinkedIn is great. I think they're owned by Microsoft, but they never pull the stunts that Facebook does and YouTube. By next year we're gonna restore all of our stuff away from YouTube, so we're gonna have our own storage on Blockbuster Video TV, because you can't trust any of these big companies. I mean, you talk about kings. They kept talking about Trump being king. Forget Trump. He's a tiny little prince. The kings are the kings of the corporations, the big corporations in America. And the oligarchs are the extremely wealthy people in America who keep low profiles, importantly, because they don't want their heads chopped off. And they're the ones that control the purse strings. It's not Donald. Donald is like
so you mean the people that are all sitting with Donald Trump and helping him build this? Yeah. So
I mean, it's Machiavelli all over again, Jatovi. I mean, he wins the election, and so they suck up to him. By the way, if Kamala Harris was there, guess what? They'd be sitting in Kamala Harris's chair. It doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is pure profits, money, and power. And they don't care about anything else. So in terms of politics, they'll bet on both sides. And whoever wins, they don't really care. And they're the kings of America. It's not Donald Trump. It's the people that run these big corporations in the United States. They're the real kings.
But I guess you missed Nick. I guess you missed the joke that I just pointed out. There is a difference. One created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah. One has dismantled that bureau. One was focused on.
Hey, listen, I can't help it that you Americans voted a lunatic into office. I had nothing to do with it, So I voted for Kamala Harris on the record. Why did I vote for Kamala Harris, even though everybody thinks I'm a raving right-wing liberal? I'll tell you why. Because the other guy's a lunatic. So you had a choice: a person you really didn't like but wasn't a lunatic, or a lunatic. That's really the choice. And America voted for the lunatic. It doesn't tell me much about him. It tells me about the American people, how they think, or in this case, lack thereof. And if that's their values, I'm living in Spain and I'm buying another place in Scotland, and I'm just going to be bopping Europe until things settle down over there.
All right, you
Yeah.
don't want to invest in retail. What you want to do is flip houses. I just looked it up. There are
Wow.
7,000 houses in Pennsylvania that are less than $80,000 and less than $50 per square foot.
You're
Yeah.
kidding me.
You find the places in America where
Yeah.
housing is cheap and you create rental properties, or you invest in the companies that are doing that.
Yeah, there's that whole book written on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That people say, "Oh, I have money to invest in houses." He showed how he invested his first house. He actually borrowed like $2,000 from a friend, used it as a down payment, bought a home for like, 40,000 because it was a distressed property, and then immediately put it on the market for 60. Before he closed, he had a buyer, and he pocketed 20 grand. And I can tell you my experience. I've bought quite a few homes out of, they call it foreclosure. In other words, these homes go into foreclosure. You can get bargains there. I usually make like 100 grand a year buying homes out of foreclosure and then flipping them. And why? Because why not? It's too easy, is what I'm saying. And it's also very difficult because it can be very competitive to be able to go in and you have to bid on auctions. It's a pain.
It can be very competitive.
I don't do that anymore.
We're getting ready to wrap up, and I know you said you're going to be buying a house in Scotland and everything. We'll have to reach out to that Scotland podcaster that used to be on the show regularly about 3 or 4 years ago, and I got to remember his name, but he was out of Scotland and everything like that. But he was one of our regulars in the early days of this particular network. So maybe he's got a house that he can help you get invested in. But I do remember.
No. Well, maybe investing, because like I said, every time I look to buy property, I'm looking to make at least 100 grand on the property. Because somebody goes, "Oh, I'll sell you this." I said, "No, you're not." Yeah, I bought, exchange millions of dollars worth of properties. Now I buy low, and I sell high. And so the thing is, and then what they want to do is sell you high, and I'm not interested. So the thing is, they want, "Oh, look at all this beautiful." No, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm not looking at all this beautiful garbage.
Speaking of numbers, as we get ready to get out of here, I know at 1 o'clock we'll have Milan and we'll have Sasha have their debate between the S&P 500 and the Market Wizard, which is what he calls Sasha, and everything along those lines. So
Sasha had a great pick on the video. I'll tell you, several years ago, that was just unbelievable. He picked that stock. I couldn't believe that stock did exactly what he said. It's going to go up and up and up and up. And it did, Sasha. That was a brilliant move on your part. My problem is I had wax in my ears. I didn't listen to you well enough back then. So my ears are becoming open now. Anyway, that's the Modern Investment on the Pod TV network. And you don't see it anywhere else because they don't have stuff like this. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, he's leaving. No.
Yeah. So we'll see him at 1 o'clock along those lines. So it is at the top of the hour. So we'll see Modern Investment at 1 o'clock. So let's get on out of here.